My unit, surprise! This is indeed a double dose of amplification for this Thursday, June the 15th, 2023. As many of you know by now, this is the second upload of the day. The second amped up podcast for this Thursday, June 15th, 2023. Just a few hours ago, what hit your subscription boxes is the most honest, in-depth discussion about CM Punk, Tony Khan, and AEW Collision. AEW as a company heading into Collision this Saturday night. What it means for the company, what it means for Punk and Tony Khan personally, what it does going forward, what is on the line, what's the magnitude of the pressure that is on CM Punk and Tony Khan in AEW. I pulled back zero punches. I absolutely went very hardcore in this discussion. I didn't sugarcoat not one word. There was no BS detected. And that's the way that I wanted to do that. For several days, I wanted to have that discussion. Yesterday, I wanted to have that upload out to you guys. But there was too much business out in the world that BC had to conduct, so I wasn't able to get that upload to you. But this morning, horse of a different color that hit your subscription boxes early this morning to early this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And so far, a couple thousand of you guys have already caught that. The response has been next level. I appreciate everybody for checking that out and for the response you have given it. And for most of you guys watching minute one all the way to the final minute, because there's so much discussion. Guys, over an hour long, we discussed that. We had to tap into WWE as well because it was the only way to tell the CM Punk Collision storyline going into this Saturday. And it's not a storyline wrestling-wise, but it's absolutely a real story that developed ever since Brawl Out, and it really started way before that. And I think that's the best part of this discussion. BC did not leave any stone unturned. We really went over everything. And I'm so happy that a lot of you guys have already been able to catch that. If you didn't know we uploaded a little bit earlier, now you know. After this podcast, part 2 of the day, go and watch part 1. I'll have it in one of these corners at the end of the video. Just smash the box that it's in. It'll take you right to podcast 1. Now, for podcast 2, trust me when I say, let me put my Dunkin' mocha coffee down for a second so I can just tell you what I need to tell you. This part 2 podcast for Thursday, June 15th, 2023, it's packed, it's stacked, and it's jacked. We are going to talk a WWE Superstar. I don't even got to tease you in this cold open. It is Sheamus, and he is not happy with the booking of World Wrestling Entertainment, at least not for him anyway. I'm going to go over exactly what he said, quote by quote. Sheamus not happy with WWE. Over in AEW land, wait till you hear who Tony Khan supposedly has promoted to a creator, a writer/creator on Collision. We probably shouldn't be too shocked. Maybe it wasn't just Ace Steel that Punk wanted. Maybe it was this individual too. And there's no doubt this person lobbied for this for the longest time. He was right there on Punk's ass for the longest time. We're going to go over it, guys. If you see the thumbnail, you know who we're talking about. But BC's going to discuss it. And we're also going to talk about a shocking man to many people. For BC, I'm kind of split in the middle. I didn't think it would be this low. I did not. And I'm usually got the trajectory. I'm usually covering the metrics, the stats, the numbers all in one. And I can pretty much see where a rating will come in. I have the AEW Dynamite rating, and it is shockingly low against zero competition sports-wise going into Collision in just 2 nights. I got that for you as well. And I'll wait to the NXT number. I have that as well. We'll put that in the JR9 Gaming NXT report a little bit later because there was some super thankers already in the podcast I uploaded a few hours ago. So I'm going to give those super thankers, that thanks button down below, sending BC a coffee. Never needed, but always appreciated. And to show that appreciation, I'd like to give you guys a shout out in the very next upload, which is now. So whoever gave us super thanks in that last podcast, at the end of this upload, I'm going to give a proper shout out, and I have JR9's NXT Report, a new little thing we do every week. JR9's been doing it, and it catches BC up too, man. I'm learning a lot by reading the report because I can't watch on Tuesday nights. So we're going to do that, and there was other super thankers as well. So a lot to cover in part 2 for the day, man. We are amped up let's do it again, right? What is this podcast? It is packed, stacked, and jacked. And if you don't have muscles, maybe don't do that, but fucking just pound your coffee, right? It'll give you fucking, it'll give you muscles upstairs. How's that? Let's get amplified. If you guys don't mind, I'm actually going to crack this sumbitch right now. Before we start off, I'll save the Sheamus story for just a few minutes. We'll get into the Sheamus not happy with WWE. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get over to Tony Khan promoting a tag team wrestler to creative. This is getting a little silly. Even if you respect the dude, that's fine. And yes, we've said Tony Khan needs help. But hold up. It can't be everybody that CM Punk likes. I mean, see, who's running the company? Is it Anthony Khan, Tony Khan, or is it actually Phillip Brooks? I don't even know anymore. We'll go over that, man. First, I got to give you an NXT's rating as well. That'll be later when we do the super things. I'm going to let JR9 Gaming take control of the NXT review. That'll be coming up later. But first and foremost, I have the rating, and I'm going to put this first because this is just, as of the recording of this upload, just a couple of minutes ago, I got word of this number. I did jot it down, so let me go to find it again. So what I have... Of course, I lost it. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Oh, maybe I shouldn't read it. You know what? I have to read it. I have to do it. The rating for Dynamite this week is 832,000 viewers. 832,000 viewers. They have lost 71,000 viewers from last week, which was 903,000 viewers. 903,000 last week, 832,000 this week, heading into their big Collision debut. You don't need BC to tell you, that is so damn awful. You actually feel bad for Tony Khan. It's almost like going a go-home show to a pay-per-view. You really want to pull the best number possible, right? And when you pull a low number, it gives you great insight as to how many people are interested in your pay-per-view. It's the same thing here. We were talking for a long time now. Many podcasts, to their credit, man, it's usually a lot of this community likes to suck whatever Tony Khan is putting out there in front of them, and they'll suck it off. It's very odd. It's almost like they're jockeying for a job, or they want to be on Tony's good side. I don't know what it is. But everybody seemed to have covered this story pretty honestly as of late. The buzz, the interest for Collision just not being there. The buzz and the interest for CM Punk not just not being there, but almost the opposite effect. A lot of people are just done with CM Punk. A lot of people are like, take it or leave it. I can leave it. So to coincide with that, this number, I guess, shouldn't be too shocking. 832,000 viewers going into a big premiere television event known as Collision. I've been telling you guys for the longest time, their niche top tier was 950, and for a couple of months now, we've been seeing something, several months. 850 has been their new top tier. A couple of times they squeaked back into the 900s, but usually they're around that 850 the last several months. Once they got to 903 last week, and everybody said, well, you know what? No more NBA playoffs. No football competition, obviously. They never did on Wednesday nights, but you have nothing now. Hockey has crowned their champion. No opposition sporting-wise. Maybe Vanderpump. Maybe something on the TLC network. I don't know. Is MTV back with their challenge yet? I don't know. That's minor league competition. I'm talking sporting events. There's nothing anymore. And these were all the things we use as excuses, right? Holidays, BC. Presidential speeches, BC. Playoff games, big games, BC. And I say no. No, they will dent your ratings. They should not be the sole purpose to use as an excuse. You either pull a good rating, you don't, based on the show's good or bad factor. That's the bottom line. Are people interested? Sometimes you can have a good show and the rating still is poor because people were not interested in it. They either didn't give it a chance or there was not enough segments that was good. 2 to 3 to 4 even could not save a show. We've seen that in quarterlies, right? Where we said, damn, 2 to 3 good things happen here. Pretty cool. But the other 5 to 6 quarters, absolute drizzling shits. We've seen every type of scenario, but you can't blame it on a sporting event, guys. You can't do it. You're letting them off the hook. You're giving them mulligans. They'll never fucking get better if they can just say, hey, you know what? We have excuses. So here's what I mean. No NBA, guys, last night. None. No hockey, no sporting event. And they came in under their new top tier, which is 850. We had to move the goalpost from 950 to 850. And they didn't even crack 850. They're headed backwards to the young, to the early 800,000s, man. 832. Going into Collision. That's... I mean, Tony Khan's the first person to look at the ratings on Thursday morning. He's the first person to do such. And I'm sure he was thinking, damn, we got good feedback last night. BC was able to catch a lot of the first hour. Even conducting other business. Second hour, I was not able to catch, but from what I hear, it was nowhere near the first hour. The second hour completely started to lose traction. But the first hour, I was able to see a lot of it. MJF versus Adam Cole, the finish to that storybook. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Loved it. Bryce Harper, the referee, overselling everything has to stop. He's taking the spotlight from the wrestlers. Bryce Harper is an overactor. Overreactor, overacting, overcompensating for everything. He's got to stop. He's too animated. You can't take the shine from the wrestlers. You just have to play your part as the referee. But if he was a little less dramatic, that would have been a perfectional ending to that match. Adam Cole asking for 5 extra minutes and MJF like, hell no, I'm getting my bell out of here because you could actually beat me tonight. I'm out. I thought that was really good, man. The stalling at the end, their pacing was way off. They were trying to time it just right by not even like touching each other. It was a little off, a little unrealistic, but those are my only complaints. That was really good. And then you go into Sting face-to-face with Chris Jericho. That just seems awesome to me. So I liked what I saw in the first hour, or at least a lot of it. But that doesn't mean it's going to work. A lot of people still want to start their show with a big storyline, right? A big development. Something that really captivates the audience. Then you go into MJF and Adam Cole and do what they did last night. But start with something massive. Maybe it's in the parking lot. Maybe it's in the side of the road. Maybe it's on top of the roof of the building. Something's going down. Right? People still need to... It's a story... It's a story-driven product. That's what pro wrestling is. You may not want to hear this, guys, especially AEW fans, because you want to say they're sports entertainment. We're pro wrestling. That's not true, guys. Aubrey Edwards is about to wrestle. You know, the AEW wrestler or a referee who's about to be a wrestler. Aubrey Edwards, the referee, is going to be wrestling in a 6-man tag with Papa Briscoe. Now, I love the Briscoes, but just think about that. And Karen Jarrett is in the match. Karen Jarrett, the wife of Jeff, former wife of Kurt Angle. Can you get any more fucking weirder? No, this is, right, you'd say, oh, that's WWE, BC. No, that's AEW. I guess I shouldn't be shocked that Bryce Harper is taking the spotlight off the wrestlers, man. All the referees seem to just want the spotlight. The referees think they're the show, and instead of just an aspect of it. But, guys, the wrestling in professional wrestling is only half the story. Just as important, and a lot of times more important, is the larger-than-life characters and the storylines they're producing. The culminating moments in matches. that we need to see to the point where we'll pay money for it on things like pay-per-views or these days subscription, right? It's the formula of pro wrestling. Just wrestling is not going to put a lot of asses in seats, man. You'll fill up some arenas here and there. You'll pop a rating here and there, and people will go, see? The niche still loves this. But as far as growth, you're not going to see that. You're just not going to, man. You could see great wrestling all over the world these days. Everybody's a great wrestler. They've been practicing on their mom and dad's trampoline in the backyard, doing all their flips and dives. So everybody that's 5'7" and 160 pounds soaking wet that can do a 760 Hurricanrana inadverted Canadian Destroyer bomb splash is going to be the bee's knees to the kids, right? Go to the local bingo hall. They'll produce 7 matches every single Friday, every Saturday, and every Sunday. 7, 8, 9 matches in a row. All of them bangers and clangers. We get it. But it's more than that, man. If you truly want to captivate an audience, it's going to have to take more than the short attention spans where you ooh and ahs with some crazy ass flips and dives and we do all the "this is awesome, fight forever" chants, and then we go online and go wrestler X versus wrestler B was a banger. No, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take more than that to see actual growth. It's going to take more than that to see big ratings pop in your weeklies and your quarterlies. It's going to take more than that to make people care. The wrestling is like the cherry on top. I know a lot of people don't want to see it's pro wrestling and you're calling it the cherry on top. Yes, I say this a million times like a broken record, guys. You can go back to the day and you see what people's favorite wrestlers were, and you got people like Hulk Hogan. You got people like the Ultimate Warrior. Best wrestlers, technically, or aerial, or pound for pound, grip for grip, move for move. No, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior were not the best wrestlers. They gave you a power press slam. They gave you some leg drops, some shoulder tackles, some big boots, and they called it a day and hit the showers. But how many times have so many fans watched Hulk Hogan matches over and over and over, and Ultimate Warrior over and over and over? This man right here, the Macho Man Randy Savage, actually could wrestle, so he produced really good wrestling matches. But the truth is, this guy was so over. One of the brightest, biggest, larger-than-life stars in the world, that he could produce 5 moves of doom like a John Cena, and he would have been one of those individuals you'd watch his matches 1,000 times over and over. That's just what we had growing up. Characters that we cared about. They weren't necessarily the best athletes or the best to put on long pro wrestling matches, but damn, were they the biggest stars. Wrestling has changed over the years. I get it. It's where we are today, where Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega is going to be called the dream match, and the ones that are the real tribalistic niche audience, they're going to be buying the merch, they're going to have the front row seats, they're going to be tweeting about it all throughout the match, they're going to save the ticket stub. That is bigger than Warrior and Hogan, WrestleMania 6. That is bigger than Rock, Austin, back in Mania, what was it, 16, 17, one of the two? That is bigger than Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25, or Michaels, Bret Hart 12. That is bigger than Macho Man Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. Ric Flair, Macho Man, WrestleMania 8, one of the best storylines going in with Miss Elizabeth, right? Dan Garcia versus Action Andretti. Dante Martin versus Darby Allin. Drew Gulak versus Ricochet. Ali versus Mansoor. But larger than life? Captivating? Probably not. You know, where we go with pro wrestling in the next 10, 20 years, it'll be interesting. I don't know how much longer it can survive on just pure move for move work rate. just how many moves you can do without proper selling, without proper in-ring psychology, and how much you can fit in 15, 20, 25 minutes. How many Canadian destroyers from the top rope can you do? How fast can you kick out of that same move? A Canadian destroyer from the top rope should put you out for about 4 hours. But instead, we're kicking out at 2 4/10. 18 super kicks, 7 Batista bombs, and a sharpshooter applied for 6 minutes. And nobody's tapping out. Everybody's kicking out. How do you figure they wouldn't be passed out for the next 3 days with all of that? The realism is gone. They blame it on Supernatural, though. People like Bray Wyatt are ruining wrestling. It's not believable, basically. Well, I'm not believing that these wrestlers can take all these moves in a short amount of time, kick out, and then it ends in a fruit roll-up. So it's interesting, man, where we are today. I don't mind if you guys get your bangers and your clangers and you get your work rate matches and you go to see how many stars Meltzer gave it and you tweet about how the match was so awesome and your 140 characters. Hey, if that's what you guys want, that's fine. But I hope you understand that the rest of us, and we are a wide margin, we need larger-than-life characters and we need storylines at the forefront. Professional wrestling, we need more than just choreographed, rehearsed, staged combat. We need more. We know it's choreographed. We know it's rehearsed. We know it's staged combat. So at least give us a storyline with people we care about. We only seem to care about every 5'7", $160 dude who can do all the fancy flips and dives. It's weird, man. It's very weird. So anyway, that was a long discussion, left field with a hockey stick, but let's bring it back full circle to where we are with an 832. You know, you look at MJF and Adam Cole, I didn't mind that match. If you start the night off with a big storyline first, then you go into that match, maybe we have a different number. If hour 2 could have matched hour number 1, maybe we're looking at a different outcome in the ratings. But 832,000 viewers going into your big premiere Collision is a catastrophic fail. It is sad to see that number. I truly thought without any competition, and I never give anybody, I never give any company an excuse, like pro wrestling anyway, an excuse as to why their number is low, other than putting the blame directly on themselves. Your product wasn't good enough to reach the number you wanted. Of course, playoffs, presidential speeches, holidays, it'll dent your number. But if you're doing your due diligence and what you got to do correctly, you will overcome the majority of that dent. You'll get that dent out over time. You are to blame if your number is really low. And if it's really high, congratulations, you did many things correct. I thought they had every reason in the world to pull over 900,000 in the rating this week, bare minimum. No competition at all. Hour 1 was not that bad. 900 plus. Last week they got 903. Did I ever think they would be in the low 800,000s going into Collision? No. And here we are. It shows you how many people just don't care about AEW. There's no FOMO, no fear of missing out. They can miss it, maybe I'll tune in next week, they say. That's sad, man. That's sad. And when you're that way for so long, you could have a good first hour like last night, and so many people already think the product is in the shitter that they probably didn't even need to tune into hour 1 or didn't want to, so they couldn't see that hour 1 was pretty decent. 832,000, guys. Their 18 to 49 demo dropped to a .30. Wow. Dynamite took a dynamite ass whooping, man. A dynamic, how's that, ass whooping? That doesn't please me to say that. I can't believe the number that I'm looking at. 832,000. Salute, unit. I'm going to stick with AEW for a second. Wait till you hear what Tony Khan, or who Tony Khan, promoted to creative. You ready for this? Duncan Mocha re-amplifying BC. Dax Harwood. No, that's not. It's not April Fool's. It's June, guys. June 15th. Second podcast of the day. Dax Harwood. Now, this is what we're hearing. It's a preliminary report, so BC has not been able to do my due diligence and confirm this double time over, which is what I like to do. I want to check in with my people, see if they're hearing the same thing. It's a preliminary, but the two reports that have confirmed over one another are pretty reputable. So, I don't know, maybe Dax doesn't want that out, or Tony Khan, maybe you hear them come out and deny these reports, possibly, but something is up here for this to break out like that, and then to be confirmed by another reputable source. And again, I'll see what my people are saying, but Dax Harwood looks to be in creative in some type of way with Collision. Now, this circles back. This is one of CM Punk, Phil Brooks' close people in his circle. Samoa Joe, Dax, Ace Steel. Isn't it funny, right? He wants to work with Samoa Joe when he gets back. Well, there's Joe right in the first match when he gets back. He needs Ace Steel to work at AEW again, or he's not coming back. Well, Ace Steel is back. He needs Dax Harwood to be in creative, or he's not coming back. Well, Dax just somehow out of nowhere, when he was in a contractual dispute a few months ago, didn't even know if he was going to WWE. And now he's running creative for, Phil Brooks. So the dude who's the best buddy of Brooks, I mean, this guy started a podcast just to show his appreciation to CM Punk. That's what Dax did. Probably's got fucking like little kids growing up having posters of Bret Hart. Dax probably has posters of CM Punk. Dax Harwood loves CM Punk. Started a podcast just to praise CM Punk. And now all of a sudden he's out of nowhere writing for CM Punk. You honestly think this is not going to be CM Punk writing for himself? That's what this is. Punk, slowly but surely, is taking control of AEW, just like he tried to do the first time. Remember what he said at the Brawl Out scrum? He accidentally let the cat out of the bag. He said, I'm trying to run a business here. And people that couldn't even manage a target are ruining it, basically, is what he said. But he said, I'm trying to run a business here. I'm trying to run the company. You are? I thought Tony was, the guy sitting next to you. I thought all of you together were trying to pump up this company. Oh, you are trying to run the company. Fuck everybody else. That's how Brooks has always been, bro. It's amazing when you're a Green Bay Packer fan, how the similarities between Phil Brooks and Aaron Rodgers is scarily the same. Aaron Rodgers is the same way. He's just been so hard to work with for years that the Green Bay Packers finally had to sever ties. We didn't want to. The guy's a two-time MVP the last 3 years. But it was becoming unworkable. You could not work with this dude. You could not work with him. So many Packer players have said that. Either in a roundabout way or directly. And then he goes to the Jets, and what does he do? He starts barking orders. I want player A, B, C, D, and E to be with me, or I'm not signing. Called it a wish list. Denied that he did that. And then guess what happened? Everybody that reporter said was on the wish list ended up going to the Jets. So the story was absolutely accurate. Aaron Rodgers' ego got so damn big, he went into business for himself. People like Aaron Rodgers and Phil Brooks, got to be careful of those people, man. They're in it for themselves fully. Aaron Rodgers always talked about how his MVPs mean so much. Not the Super Bowls. You don't want to do that as a team and win Super Bowls. No, it's his personal MVPs that he does individually. Punk says, I'm trying to run a business. Well, look what he's doing on Collision. He's putting all of the pieces to his puzzle in place. Not Tony Khan's puzzle, not what's best for AEW. It's very, very odd, man. Dax Harwood of all people. And a lot of people like Dax. And he's a good tag team wrestler. I have seen nothing to say this guy should be in creative. The fuck are we doing? What's next? Is Action Andretti going to be in creative? They took this guy. You guys are always saying Billy Washington, the fucking person that was with Denise Salcedo. I mentioned this on the earlier podcast, right? They were in these little media scrums, calling it media when there are other podcasters trying to do what BC does accurately, but at least these kids tried. They look like they're fresh out of high school, and they're sitting right there with Tony Khan because they sugarcoat everything. They don't really call anything out like it should be. They're not helping the product or the industry. They watch the shows and they sugarcoat it, so maybe one day they can get employment. Well, Billy Washington got it. And then you hear he's like, right, he's in creative meetings and this and that. What? What are we doing? I know we said Tony Khan needs help, but now he's just letting the inmates run the asylum. Very odd, man. Dax Harwood. But that's what's going on. Let me know what you guys think, man. Dax Harwood is in creative. Okay. If that's what we're doing, bro. Guys, let me get over to Sheamus real quick, if you don't mind. WWE star pissed at WWE for their booking or lack thereof. Coming up at Money in the Bank especially. So listen to this. Of course, they're going to be in London, catapulting through the UK. And Sheamus is... I had to confirm that AEW number. I still can't believe that. So I actually just checked with something else too. But yeah, even Thurston has the same number. Damn. All right, so anyway, back to this. Sheamus. Wait, let me just get a little more, man. I'm getting amped on this, man. This mocha's good. Number 7. No, 8. This is number 8. 8th coffee of the day so far, Dunkin' Mocha. Damn, these iced coffees are good in the middle of the day. Or any time of the day. 3 in the morning. Who gives a shit? Sheamus is pissed off. I'm just going to give you his quote. I'm not going to set this up as to what this is about. I'm going to give you his exact quotes. You're going to know exactly what this is about. I mean, I'll set it up a little bit. He's pissed off that he's not going to be a part of Money in the Bank, which is in London, catapulting through the UK, and Sheamus is not on it. He's happy for Butch, but he's also wondering what's up with Ridge. Now, Ridge, come on, man. He's not going to be on this. He doesn't. Ridge Holland does not deserve a spot over anybody else. But Sheamus not on the card? Yeah, that's a little awkward. Sheamus says, and I quote, "Last time we were in Wales for Clash at the Castle, I tore the blading roof off the place. Nobody came close. Roman, Drew," so he's even saying Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns didn't even come close. That's a quote. "And it was built around that match." Drew and Roman. But he's saying him and Gunther is the one that stole the show. "Nobody came close to me and Gunther. Every time I'm in there, I blow the roof off the place. Doesn't matter if it's in Cardiff, Wales. Doesn't matter if it's in Lexington, Kentucky, MSG. The reactions I get are insane. Every time I get out there, I put on a banger. I should be the first person they're thinking of, especially when a pay-per-view comes to Europe like that. So yeah, 100%, I should be in there. To be honest with you, Ridge should be in that match as well, 100%. They're in London. I don't understand why Ridge isn't in that match. You've got a great opportunity there for that. But I don't book this stuff, you know what I mean?" He says, "I don't book it, but I ain't happy about it. Everything I've done in the last 16 years, I should be the number one name that they think of, especially when a pay-per-view comes to London, a stone's throw away from Dublin. It's insane that I'm not, especially when I cut my teeth there." So he says, and I quote, 100% I should be in there. It's insane, but I don't book this stuff. It's insane. I should be in there, but I don't book this stuff. Tell me how you really feel, Sheamus. I love how these wrestlers, man, you know, you got to watch what you say to a point, because you still are in the company and you do want to put them in a better light than maybe you'd want to kind of rip them apart a little more, but you don't want to cross the line too much, right? But I love how more and more the wrestlers aren't pulling back as much, and they're giving you their true thoughts. And with Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Pinocchio Pussface, Schnoz McGee, you gotta do that. When you bitch and complain, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who's got no fucking balls, they're in Stephanie's purse, he just gives you what you want, right? Sethington Rollins complained, he bitched about how Cody Rhodes is in the main event, and he feels he deserves that spot. And what does Sethington get? A whole new title for him, right? Asuka, after WrestleMania, for the first time ever, Asuka stopped being so polite and just said, maybe I should just get out of here. But you guys would probably miss me with this piss poor women's division and where we're at right now. Maybe I should. She literally gave a shot to the women's division and to WWE and said maybe I should peace out this bitch. Slight paraphrasing. But Asuka came right out and said, what are we doing? Asuka gets a championship. Of course, that was a botch at WrestleMania. Hunter S. Helmsley then gives it to her on a Saturday afternoon at a C-level, C-rated pay-per-view premium live event like Night of Champions. Saturday afternoon when she should have had that moment at WrestleMania. But you bitch a little bit, you'll get the championship. Of course, it's just to give it to Charlie Flair because they didn't want Belair to do it. But still, got the title. And we've seen this nonstop. I can give you guys 100 other examples of people saying one thing that is against the company and makes Triple H look bad. And before you know it, they're getting the world handed to them, right? Paul doesn't like that. Please don't speak negative. So maybe Sheamus is going to get the skyrocket after saying this. But my point is, I love how more wrestlers are coming out and just being just a little bit more honest. You know, pull back that curtain just a little bit and stop defending the company to the point where that company, you got to know, would not defend you with the same fierceness. In fact, that company would kick you to the curb if it means saving a few pennies to pull record revenue. We've seen how many major budget cuts, roster cuts due to budget. Blaming it on the budget anyway. Roster cuts. How many of those people defended that company through and through and they got kicked to the curb out of nowhere, blindsided? You know, these wrestlers are finally seeing how business is conducted. And they're like, you know what? If I'm going out with a little bit of fucking pride. A little bit of I have some type of moral compass here. I got to stand up for myself a little bit here. Sheamus thinks he's done so much for WWE. And to have this big event where it is going to be located. And he just gets passed up by all these people. And here we are just 2 weeks away. And he doesn't even have a match. Or he's not involved in anything. Nobody cares about it right now. Sheamus is pissed off. Just add him to the latest of a lot of people in that locker room that are not happy. But I thought when Paul Levesque took over, it was going to be different. Oh, no. This is where we just blame Vince. Yeah, but Vince is still there, basically. Vince isn't going anywhere. Vince has always been there. He never went away. I don't think you guys understand that. It was a smokescreen. When you heard that Paul Levesque and Stephanie were all just running it by themselves. No, Vince never left. It was just to let the smoke settle with this investigation. Vince never left. But Paul Levesque has more control and power now than he ever has. And the product still is in the shitter. In many cases, even worse. In many scenarios. And still, wrestlers are pissed off. Seth was just complaining a couple months ago. Asuka was complaining coming out of Mania. Sheamus is a good buddy of Paul Levesque. Asuka was one of Paul Levesque's favorites. Sethington is a good buddy of Paul and one of his handpicks. And they're not happy. So Paul tries to correct, okay, I'll throw a title on you, Sethington. Asuka, I'll throw a title on you. And who knows what Sheamus is going to get now. He'll probably end up fucking being in Money in Bank and winning the shit now. But I'm proud of him that he's, I'm proud that he's speaking up. Guys, real quick, too. See, this is the second time I saw this report. Supposedly, there's an ESPN interview that Phil Brooks, CM Punk, recently did. And it's supposed to expose even more vitriol and turmoil between Punk and the locker room. A lot of the quotes in this ESPN interview are not going to help the relationship between AEW and Punk. So I guess AEW, who was there or oversaw the interview and let it slide, everything, but now I guess they're trying to get some of the quotes retracted. So now there's this big thing going on where they're trying to get some of that interview out. I'm still trying to dig up more information, but I don't know if this ESPN article is going to come out before Collision or after, but this may be more fuel to the fire of people just not trusting or liking Punk. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, well, it's for storyline, BC. But come on, man. No, it's not, guys. This is not. None of what happened in all these months has helped any storyline. None of this has to do with Hangman or Elite, and even if you do something with them in the future, this all just made you all look like idiots. And for what? Your rating sits at an 832,000 with zero buzz for Collision on Saturday. So if this was all a work or all a storyline, wow, did it fail miserably, guys. Can you just take the L? This has all been real. And nobody has been helping it. Tony has botched so much going forward. Phil Brooks has been doing nothing but botching the Instagram, degrading and slamming Chris Jericho and Mox. People that took on the locker room leader role when this dude went into business for himself, and he's going to totally knock them down. Call out Tony Khan saying he wanted him to wrestle injured against a guy, Mox, who wasn't even under contract. So basically he said that AEW was a sloppy shop. Tony Khan, my boss, wanted me to wrestle against a guy who wasn't even under contract. So I'm not cleared, and my opponent isn't even under contract. But we're going to have a match in AEW. So CM Punk called AEW a sloppy shop and really made Tony Khan and AEW look like idiots, schmucks, Bush League to the most amplified of measurements. And everybody just turns a blind eye. But they need CM Punk. All right, let's see how much Punk is going to do. Because all we're hearing now is more and more Punk yapping off, flapping the gums, and just adding more fuel to the fire. A fire that does not need to burn anymore. At this point, just put it out. Put the storylines inside of the product now, not outside. Because it didn't work. Not that this was a storyline, but there's still some people, conspiracy theorists, I think this was all a work. Look at the ratings right now. Look at the non-interesting Collision. Wow, if that was a work, did it fail miserably? It's not. He's coming back to a six-man tag that has nothing to do with anything that happened over the last several months. Very odd. I'm interested to see what this ESPN interview consists of and if AEW is able to take out whatever they want retracted from that. Guys, I want to go over some super thankses right now. My amplified unit sending BC a coffee in the podcast just a little while ago. If I can get over to it. Hold on one second. I'll get there. Have to make sure there wasn't another one. Hold on. All right. I've got you. Hold on. Let me get it on the big screen. This is almost like doing super chats in a live stream. Because I got to get them on the big screen so I could see it. Or see them. Oh, got it. Oh, we're in business. All right. So, first and foremost, WWE AEW Marvel fan. Salute. 5-spot coffee over to BC in the super thanks. WWE AEW Marvel fan says, and I quote, awesome video, BC. This was the podcast we just put up a few hours ago. Awesome video, BC. Also, I have a question. Is Roman Reigns larger than life? I got argumentative with a tribalist and said that he wasn't larger than life and doesn't draw in the ratings and or statistics. First of all, as far as awesome video, BC, I appreciate that. I hope you find this podcast pretty damn awesome as well. I definitely had a lot of fun filming it for you guys, recording it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the coffee, for sure. Never needed, but always good to see you up in here in that highlighted super thanks, WWE AEW Marvel fan. As far as Roman Reigns being larger than life, I will say this. No matter which side of the fence you guys are on, a lot of people are going to say yes, a lot of people are going to say no. I will give you my honest thought process on this. He is on his way to being larger than life if you think he is not already. I believe that in today's wrestling, he is one that would be considered larger than life, yes. The way the kids would look at him right now, and many adults, if you're walking through a supermarket or a mall, right, this is the test, right? Like if you're walking by a Drew Gulak or a Danny Garcia or an Action Andretti or a Dante Martin or an Orange Cassidy or a Darby Allin, right? Most of you guys are going to be bigger than them, first of all. So you're going to be looking at like, hey, Darby, how you doing, young man? Size isn't necessarily the only measurement, no pun intended, or how we view everything. But size is important, right? You kind of want the wrestlers to be a little bit more like Yo, whoa. But in today's wrestling, man, a lot of these wrestlers I wouldn't give a second look to if I walked by them in a mall or a supermarket. And if they're wearing a baseball cap, I definitely would not look twice. But when you have Roman Reigns walking by you, man, and you know it is, that's probably going to shock. It doesn't matter if you're a kid or you're an adult. You're going to be pretty much shook for a second. You're going to be like, fuck, dude, that's somebody who's not even a wrestling fan that you're with. You'll be like, that's Roman Reigns. And they'll know who you're talking about most likely. This guy's been on the Tonight Show, Today Show, Tonight Show, the last show at night, the Today Show, which is the first show in the morning. He's been in movies and TV shows. He's on all the merchandise. You know Roman. Larger than life. Already to BC. I would say that. But if you don't think so, I hear you. Maybe you got slightly different criteria. But no matter how you view Roman, he is most certainly on his way. When it's said and done, within the next 2 to 3 years, bare minimum, I think he will have reached that status. Absolutely. WWE, AEW, Marvel fan. Good question, man. And I appreciate the coffee and that super thanks. Also, I want to give a shout out over to Brad Boyer, who was a recent gold card member, just joined channel membership, sporting that gold card after that name. Brad Boyer, I appreciate it, man. Two Spot Coffee says, thanks, BC. Keep up the amazing work, and let's get those ups amplified. Give him a camel clutch. Batista bomb that like button. But whatever you do, smash that like. Pin it 1, 2, 3. Give it the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. Nothing in wrestling can kick out of a roll-up these days, so give the like button a roll-up. Good call, Brad Boyer. I forgot to even mention that earlier. Smash the up. I didn't mention it in the first podcast, and I forgot to mention it here. Thankfully, Brad Boyer's got me covered on that. Thanks, BC. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Brad. And again, yet again, I will say welcome to the unit gold card membership, man. I love seeing those gold cards after your names. Those are my tried and true, the front lines of the unit. And there's only one way to end this podcast. That's with JR9 Gaming's NXT report. Two Spot Coffee up in the super thanks. JR9 Gaming says, brilliant video, BC. You broke down everything surrounding Punk and Collision perfectly. Now it's time for the JR9 second amplified NXT roundup. Let's do this. This is lengthy. BC was not able to catch the show. I caught a little bit. But as far as the entirety, I missed more than I saw, unfortunately. So I'm going to get up to date through this report. I have not pre-read this, so I might fucking botch my way through this report. All apologies, JR9. But let's do this together. By the way, NXT pulled in 583,000, I believe. I think it was 583. So they went down several thousand in viewership. They were over 600 last week. I just want to make sure. I'll say 583. If I'm wrong, maybe it's like 586, but they went down drastically is my point. Watch it be like 581, guys. 615. JR9 actually put it in his report. 615 last week to 581 this week. And Monday Night Raw was in the 1.5s. So all of wrestling is just taking a wabaka this week. A lot of fans not too intrigued with pro wrestling. A lot of fans are not happy with pro wrestling this week. All right, let me get a big swig here. Let's go over this NXT report. Okay, so JR9 says the positives of NXT this week. Roxy and Blair's story started well with very good video package for Blair. I think that was so well done anyway. And I love JR9. I'm going to try not to give my point of view after everything JR9 says, but I just want to say I'm glad that they did not give the title to Roxy and they did give it to Tiffany Stratton and give Roxy just a storyline. Wrestlers, it is okay to give them storylines that have nothing to do with the title. Most times, it's going to help them in the long run, and I feel Roxy, it's the same way. Roxy then cut a post-match promo that was the most intense so far in her career. Okay, see, now I gotta go and see it, Jeremiah. Thanks a lot. Now I gotta carve out time to check that out now. That's my girl, Roxy. Roxy cut a promo post-match that was the most intense so far in her career, and her serious facial expressions were fantastic. Made her feel like a badass. Great to see that she can play both the badass and the underdog perfectly. Very AJ Lee-like. Roxy being that versatile is a major indicator that she can become an all-time great. I already know she can. She's well on her way, and if they keep booking her correctly like they are so far, sky's the limit, man. Valkyria and JC versus Kiana and Gigi are being two separate non-title stories is good booking. Could elevate them all if done right. How funny is that? I swear to you, I did not read this report beforehand, and I literally just said that about booking with nothing to do with a title, how it can elevate you. JR and I, man, sometimes great minds think alike. Absolutely correct. Stack's video going over evidence board on who ratted Tony out was short but effective. Tony D's storylines are so creative and just fun. I loved it when he was getting arrested back in the they were literally in the precinct, and he's in the interrogation room and the camera's up in the court. It just felt so good. So maybe I gotta check that out too. Now the negatives. 2 roll-ups in one night. Oh, no. Double the roll. And you know what's funny? You just delivered that report in yesterday's Tuesday's podcast. And the roll-up report. And NXT was much better than Raw and SmackDown. And here they are with a double-decker. And we were just praising Shawn Michaels on not doing as many. 2 roll-ups in one night. Los Lotharios, which is more main roster talent showing up who add absolutely nothing to the brand. Yeah, I heard that Garcia and Humberto were on NXT this week, man. I heard that. I wasn't able to see it, but when I heard it, I was like, no. Add them with Dana Brooke, Sethington Rollins, Ali, Baron Corbin. I couldn't believe Corbin Tuesday night. I actually saw that. I'll wait. I'm sure you mentioned that somewhere in this report, JR9. But Los Lotharios are now in NXT. Fuck what it does for Los Lotharios. We already know that makes them look like absolute losers that couldn't hack it on the main roster. That's what all this is. That's why you would go back to NXT. Pinocchio Pussface, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, said this was college football to what the NFL is. Main roster, the NFL, NXT college. Well, who goes back from the NFL to college? Nobody does that. Unless you absolutely failed miserably, and even then you wouldn't be allowed back in college. So nothing makes sense that Pinocchio Hunter Hearst is talking about. It makes zero sense. Los Lotharios, what does it do for NXT? Nothing. I feel, I like Frazier, however, winning the Heritage Cup by beating Mensa, who defended for Dar. Oh, who defended for Dar is ridiculous. Faction members can't defend a title for a champion, let alone lose it. Just makes no sense. It would be like Roman losing his title after Solo lost to, say, Cody. I agree, and I told you I liked Frazier, too, when I saw him. I think it was the Heritage Cup, too, a couple weeks ago, right? Or no, that was with Tyler Bate. Oh, I forgot, man. But the dude, Nathan Frazier, really caught BC's attention with what he did in that ring. And I was like, all right, I got to watch this dude more. So him winning the Heritage Cup I like, but it's like we always talk about. If it's not done properly, then it's nullified. And it sounds like that's a situation that happened on Tuesday night with Frazier. Plus, Dar's group having lost 3 straight matches since forming at Battleground. Not good. Yeah, and BC said, I didn't mind that group forming. I could see that working. And here they are making them legit jobbers already. JC, Tiff, and Gigi only got 30 seconds of TV time, but Dana got a video package. Probably lasted more than 30 seconds. Interview and was ringside during Cora's match lasting 5 minutes. More than all of them combined. Dana Brooke is taking all of that TV time from what's supposed to be developmental, supposed to be developing themselves on a show like NXT. Makes no sense. Dana Brooke is getting that time. The fact she's got more exposure than the champ and two talents who made themselves known in the industry with their 3-month story is terrible booking. Seth vs. Breakker next week is an awful decision, as Braun's appeal will be diminished from losing his second straight match after just turning heel. Exclamation point on that thought. Then we have Dragunov, who beat Dijak in a match of the year contender, losing to Corbin Tuesday. It's unrealistic and it's actually insulting to the audience. I could not believe they did that. I understand Corbin can't lose. He's a main roster guy, and that's the big problem with having him there. Nobody's going to win in the long run. Dragunov was the guy, I feel, coming out of Battleground. It wasn't even, to me, it was not even Carmelo Hayes. It was Dragunov. And here he is losing to Baron Corbin on Tuesday night. Yeah, that infuriates BC. To wrap this edition up, I'll be as honest as ever before. As a huge NXT advocate, I have to admit the show has declined massively since Battleground due to the main roster involvement. NXT isn't gaining viewers with them on it either. Down from 615 last week to 581,000 this week. Not good. Just pointless having them there. Good point, JR9. All of that main roster talent, even the involvement of the world champion Sethington, and viewership went down. Down 34,000 viewers. NXT has to return to their roots, being 100% developmental, with actual NXT talent being the focus of not taking the back seat to main roster stars. Giving the young and hungry talent the platform to become superstars will benefit NXT and WWE way more long term. I know this was a very long edition. I just had a lot of thoughts that I felt was important to share to you, BC, and the unit surrounding the state of NXT. It can be as long as you want. That BC just got a wealth of knowledge from that review, because again, I wasn't able to catch it. So that gets me up to date. It lets me know what I have to go back and check out and what I have to take a mental note of. So JR9, I thank you, man. It really does bring BC, or get BC up to date with what is happening, and I know I'm not the only one in this unit. So I actually look forward to that type of stuff. You know what? And that was just a couple hours ago that got put up. You know what? I just gave that the 10th on the up. I just smashed the up on that, JR9. How's that, man? I don't get to do that on my own channel often, but I was the 10th up on that. So that goes to show you there's other people that thoroughly enjoyed your review of that. I appreciate that big time, JR9 Gaming. The coffee is just the cherry on top, man. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. And that now they're back to 581 with all of that main roster. Paul Levesque, Nicholas Khan, and even Michael Hicknam-Bottom, Shawn Michaels, they all have to get together and go, all right, this ain't working. Get them back over there, please. Because now we're going to start losing our own fucking identity of what NXT is. Because it's actually a decent, even good product. Don't lose itself. Guys, that's what I got for you, man. Much love and respect to my entire unit. Let me get back off this screen for a second. There we go. There's BC. All right, guys. Until next time, and there will be a next time, I assure you. This has been an amped up to the highest of degrees type of a day, man. 2 uploads within a few hours of one another. If you didn't catch the first upload, it'll be up in one of these corners right now. How's that? There it is. Click on that. That'll take you to the huge discussion we've had about CM Punk, Tony Khan, and AEW. We just had this discussion a few hours ago. Partake in it. Listen to it. It's the most honest you're going to get in this community. BC is going to go get a lot more coffee and rock out this day amplified style. I hope you do the same. BC, top guy, saying check you. Peace!